Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I am a neurodivergent woman. I am autistic, I have ADHD, I have a rare memory disorder called SDAM, and I have aphantasia, which is the inability to visualize in my mind's eye. I have playlists on all of these topics, so make sure you check them out. So if you've been following along lately, you know that I am recovering from foot surgery, so I've been spending most of my days lately resting in bed, and now I'm to the point where I am trying to get up and do a little bit of PT on my foot and leg, but that doesn't take up much of my day. So I'm still spending the day doing just kind of my hobbies, my special interests. Some of that is coloring, reading. I've been working, oops, upside down. I've been working on this cute embroidery project. This kitty cat, it's got flowers in front of it. This has been a fun thing to keep me busy while I've been recovering, you know. But this morning, I was kind of thinking of the PDA Profile of Autism, which is Pathological Demand Avoidance. And I've had questions in some of the comments asking if that was part of my official diagnosis, and I don't think it was. And I say I don't think it was. I do need to go back up and pull up my official diagnosis. When I got all the paperwork and the feedback back, I was still at the beginning of my autism journey, and I don't even know if I was aware of the PDA profile at that time. And when the psychologist was going over all of it, I was absorbing what I could, but I will be honest, a lot of it went over my head. Now that I have learned a lot more, and I'm still on the journey of, I say, learning out loud with y'all guys. This is a real lived experience vlog, processing my diagnosis journey. I bet now if I go back over my diagnostic paperwork, I'm going to understand a lot more than the day that I received it. But I don't think profiles of autism were included in the diagnosis. I've just been learning about pathological demand avoidance, and it just 100% fits the way my brain works. So I'm sure it's going to be different, you know, for everyone. All of these brain experiences are going to present slightly differently, but basically with pathological demand, things feel like a demand on your system, and then your brain says no. And it can come internally or it can come from an external source. So for me this morning, I was sitting here and I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. And I'm like, okay, I really want to work some more on this embroidery project. But a lot of times when I want to do something, then it suddenly feels like a demand on my system. And then I just can't do it anymore. And that can be so frustrating to live with and experience, especially when it comes from within. And there are some things that I'm working on to overcome this. So I just kind of sat here for a minute, sat with that feeling like, okay, brain wants to work on the embroidery, but brain also does not want to let me do that. What does brain? I know I'm talking about my brain like it's a separate entity, but it's like sometimes it just helps me work through it. And I'm like, well, okay, if it's not going to let me work on the embroidery right now, what will it let me? Like, what is my brain wanting to do? And I realized I actually just really wanted to do a video. I wanted to engage in social media. So social media content creation has become one of my special interests over the last like 2.5 years. And so there's a thing like, I think it's dopamine. Is it dopamine or is it serotonin? I forget what the chemical ones are, but the one that goes brain go wee, the happy chemical, right? So a lot of times us neurodivergent people, we are deficient in the brain go wee chemical. So scientific. And so if you can stop and acknowledge that and then listen, what activity, which is usually going to be, if you're autistic, your special interest, or if you are ADHD, it's going to be whatever you're hyper focused or hyper fixated on at that moment. that's going to give you that dose of brain gooey. I'll try to put the actual real word in across the screen. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, I want to make a video. And then the conversation I was having with myself is I posted a video less than a day and a half ago. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to burn myself out. But see, that's neurotypical speech right there. A lot of times neurotypical people will burn themselves out of an activity that they like to do. For neurodivergent people, when it's a special interest, it can be very all-consuming because it provides that brain chemical, it provides that excitement, and it's not like we won't ever get burnt out.
I'm using the term burnout here, not as in an autistic burnout, but as in done with a project.
Like, there have been times where I am trudging along on a special interest and then it's done. It is just done. And I really hope that doesn't happen with social media. Like I said, I started it 2.5 years ago, and it makes me so happy to the whole process, creating videos, editing the videos, doing the thumbnails, and for different platforms too. That's why I have a lot of different accounts, because it's like, it's not that I'm actually burning out. It's like I need multiple accounts to satisfy how intensely interested I am in content creation. And then my favorite thing is connecting with other people through social media in the comment section. I love how active my comment section is because I love reading all of y'all's comments and then having y'all respond to each other and creating like a community around being neurodivergent. But so neurotypical is like, oh, don't post, you'll burn yourself out. And it's like, that's not advice for a neurodivergent person. Neurodivergent person needs to do their special interest. It's what gives us that brain chemical that makes us happy, and then we can focus on other things. So like after this video, after I've like addressed what my brain really wants to do, then I will be able to sit down and enjoy my embroidery project. Another pathological demand example that I realized yesterday, I have been drinking, part of, autism is having routines. And my favorite tea, I'm a big tea person, y'all, is it's Bigelow. I hope I'm saying their name right. Vanilla caramel black tea from Bigelow. It's my favorite one. I've been stuck on that flavor for I think a couple years now, and I drink it almost every day, but I have other teas that I love. I have a huge tea collection. And so the other day I was like, oh, I want to drink some of my other tea, but part of my routine is just to get out my favorite flavor and make my tea. So even though I wanted to drink one of the other flavors, my brain was like, nope, you're going to stick to your routine today. So I told myself to give myself time to prepare for the change. Tomorrow, I'm going to drink one of my other flavors. And then I even picked it out right then. I'm like, tomorrow I'm going to drink coconut mango tea. I love that flavor. And then, so the next day, my brain was prepped and excited and ready. And so I made the coconut mango tea and I enjoyed it and I loved it. And it seems like such a little life hack, but it works in small things, and then it can work in bigger tasks that you need to do in life too. And if you practice on the smaller things, it can kind of help you use this skill. A lot of times autistic people have to face a change a lot faster than that, and we don't get that time to mentally prepare and switch. And that's a lot of times when meltdowns can happen. But if we can allow ourselves time to mentally switch, that really helps. And then another example of the PDA profile that I thought of this morning, before I was diagnosed, I self-accommodated for this. So as y'all know, I have a memory disorder, so I don't have memories, autobiographical memories of my life. And Facebook has this memory, like day in the life of feature, and it shows like what happened of that day. I don't know, in a section on Facebook. And I like to scroll through it. Now, when I look back at old photos, I don't have memories of the photos, but it gives me a way to re-experience things that happened in my life. Even if I don't remember them, I have photographic evidence, and it's like, oh wow, these are the things that I experienced. Today, a photo popped up of when is labeled in 2004, so it was when I was 24 years old, and is with me with my blonde hair. So no, I don't remember the photo, but I do have some facts about my hair that came up for me. And one of the facts was I was blonde for most of my life, and I started getting brunette hair when I was like in college. And that change, I didn't like it because I identified as somebody with blonde hair. And I think that was part of my autism too. Me physically changing upset me. So that's why I started dyeing my hair blonde. It just felt like it was me. But I don't like the sensory experience of dyeing. I don't like the maintenance of dyeing my hair. And so eventually I wanted to stop dyeing my hair. I also, ever since I was very young, have really loved older women with gray and silver hair. That's just an aesthetic that I've always loved. And so when I turned 30, I decided I was going to stop dyeing my hair because I wanted to just be able to gray naturally, and it was just a good reason to stop doing the maintenance of dyeing my hair. Well, I knew, and again, I wasn't diagnosed at the time, but I just internally knew that going from blonde to brunette was going to upset me. I didn't understand why it was going to upset me. I just knew, even though PDA, Pathological Demand Avoidance, I wanted to be my natural hair color, I knew that the change was going to bother me. So what I did instead was, so I let my hair grow out so my roots would be long enough for the hairdresser to match my natural color as best she could. And so she dyed my hair brunette, but then I put in some big chunks of purple hair. So it was mostly brunette with a couple of like big chunks of purple. And that way my brain got to be excited about the purple because that was just super fun for me. And I'm like, like these fun purple things. And so I focused on the purple, and it let me gradually get used to being a brunette. And then I kept up the purple for a couple of times. My hairdresser bought a tube of purple because this was back before people were dyeing their hair all the time, different colors. And so she bought a tube of purple just for me. And she told me that I had to buy that whole tube because none of her other clients wanted purple hair. And so we just used it up until that tube was gone. So that's how that happened. But anyway, so then by the time that tube was done, I was used to the brunette, and she dyed it one more time to like even out the tone. And then I stopped dyeing my hair. Now, when I turned 40, I didn't have any grays yet. I mean, I had like a couple, and I was like, really, I've been a whole decade, and I thought I would start having grays because the other women in my family had gone gray, and no grays. So when I turned 40, I decided, just for fun again, because I'd forgotten now how much I hated dyeing hair, I dyed it red, and it was really fun and beautiful. I loved it. I did like that change. I think that was an ADHD thing. Like sometimes ADHD brain takes over and it's like, ooh, wants to change, right? But it was like a couple of months before COVID. So I dyed it twice, and then everything shut down, and then I couldn't maintain it because I wasn't going to do a box mix for the red hair, because every time I've tried to dye my own hair red with a box mix when I was younger, it was a disaster. So I learned that if I was going to do red, it was going to be at a salon. And every time I always did blonde, I always did a box mix. But anytime I do something drastic, I go to the salon. Anyway, hold on, my brain's wanting to tangent. So yeah, I dieted like twice, and then COVID, everything shut down. And then I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I remembered I didn't want to have to schedule maintenance anymore anyway. So that was hard because I had like weird coloration. I tried a box dye, it was bad. Then finally, when things opened up, I got her to color match it again. And then now this, I'm 43 now, and this is all my natural hair. Finally, that red has, my hair grows really fast, so that's all been cut out. And yes, these are my natural curls, and this is my natural hair. And I do have a couple of grays, but not very many. And one day, maybe I will have all silver hair, and it'll be fabulous. I'm all about aging gracefully. So I'm still learning to navigate PDA profile. And right now in this video, I was mostly talking about internal demands. Maybe in a future one, I'll talk more about external demands. But these are just some things that I have started to work on to try to help manage that when, yeah, here, Milo, come here. I saw Milo's tail. Milo. See my messy room. I am learning how to manage these internal demands because it is crazy making when you want to do something, you want to do it, and your brain says no. Your brain says, no, you're not doing that. So if you've got the time and you can give yourself, you allow yourself more time, and you're like, okay, what does brain want to do? Give itself the wee happiness, then you can do the other thing that you really want to accomplish that day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you on the next one.